Hello, I'm Jorge Martinez, and this is GGCtoday, a channel where we try to make sense of God's logic in difficult scenarios. Now, for a while we've done our videos in Spanish, so if that's your preferred language, then feel free to click on the description we have provided below. Otherwise, let's get started. There's a particular story that I know is well known that has never really made sense to me. The story of Cain and Abel. Adam and Eve have two kids, Cain and Abel. Abel works as a shepherd tending his sheep, while Cain works out on the field growing fruits and vegetables and whatnot. And one day the two decide to go and make sacrifices. Abel brings his firstborn from his flock, while Cain brings some fruit. God accepts Abel's offering, denies Cain's fruit basket. Cain gets angry and kills Abel. But here's the thing. I never really understood why Abel's offering was accepted and why Cain's wasn't. And it's also pretty obvious that this is important because everybody knows that whom God accepts, God blesses. And whom God doesn't accept, well. So yeah, this is a pretty big deal. A little exaggerated, but you get the point. God didn't really seem to like Cain's sacrifice at all. So my question is, how was Cain supposed to know that his sacrifice was not going to be good enough compared to Abel's? Well, if you really want a well-constructed answer, the first thing you should do is see what other people say. And the answer that you typically find online is that Abel's sacrifice was accepted because it was simply better. It was way more personal than Cain's general fruit basket. And well, that sounds logical, but if you really think about it, there's a lot wrong with that type of thinking. First of all, just look at the implication of that conclusion. This implies that God requires that you physically give the best of the best, or else God's not going to be happy with you. In other words, God's satisfaction with you, or his happiness levels, however you want to call it, with you, completely depend on the quality of what you provide. And I don't know about you, but that is not something that is even practical. I mean, just imagine having to live every day of your life quantifying everything that you do to determine exactly how much to give to God. It does not make sense. And a deeper problem with this type of thinking is that it creates people that think just because they prayed 4 hours today, or just because they gave $100 on Sunday, God's going to be happy with them. Or that because today they gave $50 instead of $100, God's not going to be happy with them. I don't know about you, but that doesn't fit an image of an all-powerful God that doesn't need anything from you. The quality of your offerings to God should not determine how God feels about you. And plus, even if God was that way, even if it were true that his feelings about you depend on what you give him, then this story should be wrong. God should have accepted Cain instead of Abel because at the end of the day, and here's an argument that you probably haven't heard before, Cain's offering was a lot more personal than Abel's. All Abel had to do was go look for the firstborn of the sheep, kill it, and offer it, while Cain had to work the land for hours, days, months. He had to plant the seeds, till the land, wait patiently until finally the fruit is out, and then he had to go pick it. So that fruit basket carried a lot more physical and emotional toil than Abel's measly little sheep. So yeah, it's completely understandable why Cain was so angry and frustrated when he sees the hard work of his hand flat out rejected, while his brother literally didn't even do a fourth of what he did, and he did get accepted. So this story is evidence that the quality or value of your offerings to God does not determine how God feels about you. Your work doesn't get accepted or blessed because it's valuable. There's a completely different factor involved here that everyone has overlooked until today. And I propose to you that the key to understanding what makes God tick is literally right before our eyes, and it's found in what God tells Cain when he rejects his sacrifice. Hey, why are you mad? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? And that's the key to understanding all of this. If you do what is right, you will be accepted. God tells Cain exactly why his sacrifice wasn't accepted, and it had nothing to do with the quality of what he was offering. So this implies that Abel was accepted not because of his sacrifice, but because he was a person that did what was right in the eyes of God, while Cain wasn't accepted because he was a person that did not do any of that. He didn't live in a way that was right before God. And this is something that is well supported by other verses, such as, 1 Samuel 15, for example. Has God greater delight in offerings and sacrifices than obeying his voice? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of ram. So this not only makes sense, but it fits the overall theme or image of who God is. But hold on, I hear you say, what does it mean to live correctly before God? What does it mean to obey? Does that mean I have to be perfect? No, it's a lot easier than that. And nobody says it better than Christ himself. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment, but there's also one that's just as important as this one. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love one another as I have loved you. You also love one another. By this, all will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. That's what God says is to live the right way. Love. If you conduct your life according to the love and mercy, God's going to look at you favorably, and everything that you do, he will bless you. You'll be like Abel, accepted. Even when you mess up or bring something to the table that's not the best of quality. And Cain wasn't like that. The one thing that Cain was missing to be defined as a person that lived in the right was love. He didn't have that, and what greater confirmation of that truth than when he, out of rage and jealousy, turned and killed his very own brother. He had no love. So the lesson here is very simple. If you want the work of your hands to be accepted and blessed, then live life in the way that is right. Treat others with love and especially with respect. So I hope today's video was not just enjoyable, but clear on a subject that is often misunderstood. Because I know there are many people out there that take advantage of others, telling them that if they don't give X amount of money, God's not going to be happy with them. But that is simply not true. As we saw today, God values the way that you treat others a heck of a lot more than what you bring to his table. And hey, share that. Share this video if you know you have people that need to hear this, or better yet, you share what you have learned from this video. And if you have any comments, concerns, or questions, feel free to comment below or find us on Twitter and Facebook. I'll share the link down below in the description. We're more than happy to help and make these videos better and a more enjoyable experience for all of you. So thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you next week. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right.